The Dolphins, season to remember or season to forget. It really went pear-shaped at the end of the season, but the season to start off with was absolutely outstanding. Wayne Bennett got it done in round one, knocking off the Roosters, but at the end of the day it proved there wasn't really much of a victory. The Roosters paddled their way into the finals. They might have snuck through for a little while, but they were gone burger after the Sharkies. But getting back to the Dolphins here, Wayne Bennett, Mr. Bennett, X Factor started off alright, but it really went pear-shaped after that. To see the resurgence of Jamayne Issako was outstanding, and Isaiya Katoa, absolutely outstanding, and Valance, obviously the cult hero, but can he get more game time, or is he going to be out the door? And on the flip side, obviously Anthony Milford virtually was non-existent. And the injury of Jerry Marshall-King was very huge for this team. And but Dad's Army and the forward pack were probably outshone over the season with the Bromwich brothers, Mark Nichols, Ray Stone and the likes. Are they over the hill? Or will they turn it around in 2024? Because they were steady, the Dolphins. You knew the Dolphins had to dig every week, which is good to see. But they lacked the polish. So was it the forward pack, or was it just they didn't have the polish with the Sean of Sullivan now for half the season with the pick injury? Katoa was playing well and he just ran out of gas. So there's probably the bigger, more issue for the Dolphins was in the spine, but I still have a feeling this forward pack is getting aged, and whether they can continue to perform at NRL standard is going to be a question going forward. But yep, let's get to it. The Dolphins season review 2023. Well, they had a 37% win percentage, ending up in 13th position. The completion rate was not too bad, 78%. But the defense was letting them down, giving in 28 points a game compared to 21 points for. So they were really, normally 26 points a game. But anyway, defensively, at the end of the day, they let them down. It was good early in the season, but it just sort of pitted out as we went along. Top tackler was Kenny Bromwich at 667, so that shows you how much shared tackling happened in this team. But yeah, Jamayne Issako got the most points, over 244, I believe, and 24 tries for the year, top try scorer, absolute gem of a game, and there was no doubt best player for the Dolphins in 2023, and the rookie of the year, Isaiya Katoa. Pretty self-explanatory there, but let's have a look at the season review. Well, first game of the season, absolutely what a game that was to upset the Roosters. Nobody expected it. Virtually 99% of people, including myself, did not believe they were going to win this first game, and they absolutely outclassed the Roosters. Yes, they really did start the season well, but they just couldn't keep going. But just looking at some of the worst games, the Dragons 38-12 in round 5, that was not a good sign of what was to come. And then a 58 points to 18 loss to Manly at 4 Pines Park was just a bit of the writing on the wall there. Just not up to the better teams in this competition, the Dolphins. They were competitive for half the season, but just ran out of gas when it really mattered. So what did we get out of the season for the Dolphins? Well, Jamayne Issako, absolutely outstanding. Whether he can do that again, no, I have my doubts, but it was very good to see him play good football. Isaiya Katoa started off the season great, ran out of gas. Can he bounce back? Will he have the right partner for next season? Is Sean Sullivan the answer? Do they need to find someone else? There's a big question mark. Jerry Marshall-King, will he be fully back fit? Could take him a while to get back to his full fitness with the injury he had. So there's going to be a few questions. But obviously, Felice Kafusi being a little bit in and out of the team didn't help the cause. They need him to bounce back to his best. Same with the Bromwich brothers. With Jesse Bromwich pulling his time on his Kiwi career. Yes, Sal signs that I think he's only got one more season left and that'll be it. Although I can't remember if he signed a 3-year contract or not, but I don't see him playing much more. Seems to have probably played his best football, which is sad to see. But yeah, I just felt the forward pack just lacked a little bit. I mean, they were competitive, but over the 80 minutes, I think they just found it tight. And obviously, the icing of the cake, no Sean O'Sullivan from what won the early rounds for about 12, 13 weeks. They were never a hope with their peak injury. They really weren't. They already were struggling with Sean O'Sullivan in the team, but when you took him out, it was just hard yakka. But obviously, Katoa lifted his head high then. Well, what about Valance to Whare? Well, to be honest, he's 23, I think, something like that. He got his chance and he played some good games, but let's be fair, Dinkum, his defence was absolute rubbish. He might have been able to attack, but like Conway and Harrow annoying. It sort of reminds me of that type of player. Brilliant in attack, but defensively maybe not so good. But yeah, can they get the fitness out of him? He's probably old enough, a bit like Latrell, they shouldn't know to be fit these days. If they don't want to be fit, it's time to go. So that's just a question mark on what they need to do there. Obviously, promising signs have Farnworth and Fledger coming next season. Now, that's youth. That's what they needed. And having those two there, it's going to be a very strike weapon. But whether the halves can give him the ball that they need to get it done, that's probably the biggest question around the Dolphins, is can they get the spine together to help, and the forward pack, are they going over the hill, or can they continue to play good football? It's going to be a big question game. But obviously the most disappointing thing, and I don't think most people were surprised that it failed, but Anthony Milford is expected to go to the Super League after a wretched year, pretty much looking unfit, not looking disinterested. I don't know what happened to this guy. He was a gun. He was a gun at the Broncos and the Raiders, but it's gone downhill since their grand final. Absolutely. Don't know if it went to his head after losing their grand final. Because he was the man of the match. Don't get it twisted. He was the man of the match of that grand final. He was the best on field. I don't care what Thurston did at the end of the game. The best man on their field that day was Anthony Milford. Ever since then, it's been total chaos. Gone crazy, backwards. Where Ben Hunt was able to, he might have struggled at times when he went to Dragons, but he very much consistently played good football. Whether he got the victories for the Dragons is another story, but you can argue that the team wasn't up to it. But he was least in the game, Ben Hunt. But when Anthony Milford would just stay out of the game, and then they try and do something and it leads to a 90-metre try down the other end. So question marks. And so Mark Nichols, obviously, his too old. Sean O'Sullivan, is he the answer? Full thing. I mean, there's a lot of question marks over the Dolphins. The good DNA is though, they give it a go and they generally don't give up. So that's a positive for the Dolphins in their DNA. They are positive in the chances they've been. But to me, I just don't think they have the cattle to improve much next year. I really don't. Unless they can get a decent half. I think that's really what's costing them right now. If they could sign a Ben Hunt, even though Ben Hunt's a little bit over the hill, but if they could find the next star and stick with him, like a Sammy Walker, for instance, they would be a chance. Sean O'Sullivan, I just don't think he's there. I think he's more of a backup first grader than a starting first grader. I'm just being honest. But like Jack Cogger, they're very handy players to play a few games. You can do a role, but in terms of week in, week out football, there's not many of the top gun. Well, even the ones that do play week in, week out, like Daly Cherry Evans, can't seem to get it done at club level. I know he's had injuries with Turbo, but there's a little bit of issue with the money. Like even Ben Hunt, a lot of money on him and money on Cherry Evans, and they're not really delivering. The Dolphins don't seem to have that issue. But obviously, the one I haven't talked about, probably I thought was probably their best player, the Hammer. Yep, Tabuai-Fidow absolutely skyrocketed in 2023. He was the gun player of this team from mine. I put him as the best player of the year. He didn't get it, but to me, I believe he was. He absolutely revelation. He was the revelation. He was pretty much the main reason with Issako, the only reason these guys were winning games. Hammer was absolutely on fire to start the season. Got back into the Origin arena. Now he's playing for Australia. He's absolutely talented, absolutely gun. The Hammer, to me, was the Dolphins' best player in 2023. Obviously, getting the best try scorer now. Obviously, consistently, Jamayne Issako was, but I really think the Hammer was one of the main reasons. They had a great start to the season, especially. So, to me, I rate this a C, probably a lot higher than maybe they deserve in terms of where they finished, but in terms of where they were expected to finish last, they didn't, and so they jumped up about 5 places from there, so that's very positive for the Dolphins fans out there. I don't see them being top 8 next season, but we will get to that. I mean, I'm going to have to try and pick a top 8 out of all these changes to the teams, but we'll get to that coming up. But anyway, yep, Dolphins fans, to me, I think you might be waiting a while before you see them in finals football, and it might be after Wayne Bennett's time. Wayne Bennett is the master, but he's still got to have some decent Katoa out there, and I think the spine is just really going to let them down. But thank you for joining me in the Barry Charles. It's just a little bit of a season review of the Dolphins, just to have a little bit of perspective of what went wrong, what went well, what they need to improve on. To me, clearly, is they just need that icing on the cake. That is the biggest question they got. And their defence went a bit haywire at the end of the season, so they've got to improve their defence. But the defence to start the first half of the season was pretty good, but they just really struggled when the injuries came, which is understandable with the squad they had. But hopefully they will improve. Remember, this is Barry Charles Footy Show. Remember to like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Have a great day out there.